I think it's the own your home, white picket fence, 2 kids, good job, and happily married, happily ever after.
Money put up for all your kids to buy them their iPad, to buy them their clothes, to buy them the newest technologies, and to make sure they don't have to.
Society thinks that the American dream is having all this money and owning all this property. I think it's very much more based on materialistic rather than the quality of life.
White picket fence, 2.5 children, dog, happy marriage.
Okay.
That's it. And a great job that you love, with fantastic benefits and retirement, and retire in Arizona or off in the sunset at the end of it.
I think actually it's anything that makes a person happy. If you're happy, you enjoy your life, whatever you're doing in your life, I think that's a fulfillment.
For me to go to school. That was very important to me because I wanted to have a better quality of life. Obviously that comes with making a little bit more money, and it wasn't so much for like the material things. I think it's more to be able to afford to get to know more.
Health, access to health care, thank you. And I don't really know. For me, it's just having my family and friends around me and being able to make my payments on things that I own, pay for things, be self-sufficient, financially self-sufficient, and maybe have a cushion for emergencies, but nothing excessive.
With happiness, you definitely had to make sure that no matter what it is that you're living like, or what kind of car you drive, what kind of major you majored in, you just have to be happy, uniquely and genuinely happy. You can't expect that you'll yield the best out of life if you're not happy, so therefore how could you have an American dream if...
Good education, not necessarily the best schools, but education, just learning what it takes to have your dream. So if you want to be a doctor, that means go to school, get the medical degree, that kind of stuff. So having all your needs met, I would say. So basic shelter, food, that kind of thing. Get married too. That's part of my American dream. Let's see.
I guess like building up my worth almost, like so that way I can pass it on generation upon generation. I want to be able to leave something behind for my children and for my grandchildren, because I want to give them that money. I want people to look at, and it's like those people are looked down on, like the people that are privileged and that are given money, but it's like, someone worked hard for that, and I want my children and my children's children to be able to say, like, yeah, I have all these opportunities and I never once had a struggle, because
As the oldest of 5 children in a household where children are seen and not heard and not told anything except you can't. My parents were a product of depression, and they were always focused about money, and the fact that my mother in particular always said, well, you can't do that, to any aspiration.
But me being the last of 11 kids, it didn't feel like it was a huge family, because my sisters were all away and married. My oldest brothers, they were all already away at school. So it was just me and my brother growing up. It never felt like it was a huge family. And if we were lower income, I wouldn't have known. If we were medium income, I wouldn't have known. I think I would have known if we were higher income though. So I would have to say by today's standard, maybe if there's such thing as a middle class, I dare say that, because both my parents did have a college education, even though my mom went back later. Um, my dad, I wouldn't say that he made as much as my mother did, because my mom, she did like the higher end for Campbell Soup, and he was more like, I think, factory part of it. So I don't think we, if she struggled with something, I wouldn't have known it. She owned property very early, and whereas she paid for my brothers and sisters to go to school, she didn't pay for me to go to school. So basically everything I've ever gotten, I kind of paid for myself. I don't know if this is helpful, but I had my first kid at 16. So I learned very quickly the value of getting out there, doing what you have to do. If it wasn't for my parents watching my daughter, I wouldn't have never.
Very poor, in a single parent home, one of 5 girls, and in and out of foster care situations. So
it was, that came from Mexico was 5 of us, and sometimes 4 of us would share a bed, and my parents would sleep with the youngest in their bed, so it was like 2 beds in the household. So yeah, it was very, very poor. And then where we came from, it was still hasn't been, well, I can even tell you that for us to be able to see and read, it had to be on a candlelight, believe it or not. It was not something that we knew. The electricity was something that we did not have yet. We were probably one of like the very few with no electricity. So yeah, I grew up with having to have lighting by the candlelight. So once it got dark, I think we ended up going to bed kind of early, because it's like you can't really see that much anymore. And to get to school, I had to walk, because I remember being there still when I was in first grade. Kindergarten and first grade, I did school there. So I remember having to walk to that, and the school was just like a one-room schoolhouse, just like you see here. That's how it was like back in like hundreds of years ago, but that's pretty much the way we were being brought up where I grew up, where I was born.
I have achieved a form of contentment. I wouldn't say it's the American dream, but I am content with my life.
Pretty much, I think I have achieved it. I have achieved the American dream, except for I'm still working on that, on school, getting my degree.
No, yeah, I'm still working on it.
So like, I will get there. I mean, I will get, I will eventually get my house. I will get my, a car. It's just a matter of time.
Like I'm not even like in the game yet. I guess like the race to achieve the American dream. I'm like right there at the starting line.
Steadily heading towards my goal of my dream. However, it's taking a lot longer for things that are beyond my control. But I'm closer to it than I ever thought I would be. I never thought I would be.
Commercials and stuff like that, like movies, it's just very common, like that guy's living the dream, that guy's got it all, And it's not even like it's super dramatic either, like they'll just see a guy who has a very moderate, 4,000 square foot house, and with 2 cars in the driveway, and like the kids look happy and healthy, like, and people look at them and say like,